Aristocrat 2, Liam Ridgley.
Right guys, try to stay with me, this is going to be fast. Alright, I'm Liam from Shark Bay, Western Australia, from Monkey Mire, from Aristocrat 2. We have a very successful ecotourism business. My father started this business 26 years ago. So we specialise in wild dugong encounters, sailing our vessel daily and taking tourists out to see wild dugongs. So Shark Bay is home to the world's largest marine carbon sink. We have 13,000 square kilometres of water, 4,000 square kilometres of seagrass, and unfortunately 37% of it died due to the extreme marine heat wave in 2011. I'm certain you're all familiar with that. And that the Shark Bay seagrass supports our world's densest dugong population. We have the world's densest dugong population. We have 10,000, or 10% of what dugongs are remaining in the world. So there's only 100,000 dugongs left in the world, and we've got 10% of them right here in Shark Bay. So since that marine heat wave, like I said, we lost 37% of our seagrass. I'll let it go and I'll keep going afterwards.
In the summer of 2010, 2011, the West Australian coastline was exposed to an extreme marine heat wave. And that extreme marine heat wave warmed the waters above 30 degrees in the shallows around Shark Bay and caused the loss of about 1,000 square kilometres of seagrasses. And some of the areas that were impacted were places like Monkey Mire.
Take note of this bank here.
When that occurred, we were working up there and saw the loss of seagrasses as being catastrophic and that we needed to do something about it. So it's not all doom and gloom as we thought in 2010, 2011. It's actually, it's a great community ecological exercise. So it's where we get the social components, put it together with the ecological, and we get interest from government and industry to actually plant seagrasses. And that basically builds resilience in the existing natural meadows, and it builds a capacity for that system to survive another heat wave or just global warming associated with climate change.
So these bags here are potentially going to be our bags to grow seagrass in the Eastern Gulf in Monkey Mire. Anyway, this year we've been given a licence to put down 2.5 kilometres of sandbags.
So we've got the seedlings here for Amphibolus antarcticus. This is the fastest growing seagrass in Shark Bay. So then we have the Hessian sacks here, which Dad's sown in the back shed. So then we pretty much get the Hessian sacks filled with 25 to 30 kilos of sand, and then we run them off the back of Aristocrat onto the protected dugong bank, witch bank. And then we pretty much want the seedlings to get broken off from the main plant and come drifting along in the current. We pretty much want that to happen. Hang on, alright, so this is the sand sacks here. Dad sowed 1,600 of these sacks in the back shed. We then collected the sand from the boat ramp off the Monkey Mire ramp. We used the sand from the Monkey Mire ramp with the mulga ranges because the sand's to make sure it's clear of artefacts and from the same ecosystem we're replacing it back into. So we work closely with traditional owners of Shark Bay. We place the seagrass sacks off the back of our main charter vessel, Aristocrat 2. In dedication to this project, we've since purchased a 12-metre jet boat to carry out the job. We purchased a 12-metre jet boat because we wanted a jet-powered boat because there's absolutely no injury to marine animals whatsoever because they don't have an exposed propeller, and also we can lay sand sacks at any time of the day or year. So we laid 7 tonne per deployment with Aristocrat 2. The jet boat should be able to do 3 tonne per load. So we laid the sand sacks in a transverse location to the current. This is the jet boat we built, Norwest Lady. I completely transformed it into a research vessel myself, fully rebuilt it, the keel up, and we want to use this jet boat for all scientific and research purposes, WA wide. So if anyone needs a jet boat that comes with a can-do crew, let us know. Alright, so upscaling the project. Obviously I put state-of-the-art electronics in this boat. We want to be able to make it completely versatile for anyone who needs to use it. And look at the manoeuvrability thing, it's such an awesome boat. Okay, good sales pitches in here. Righto, so upscaling the project. We want to lay 10,000 sand sacks. And this is just the beginning. This is already one of Australia's largest seagrass restorations, and we only see this as the beginning. So we want to move up from 1,600 to 10,000 sand sacks. So to do this, we've had a few volunteers come on board. By the way, guys, this is our Amphibolus antarctica seedlings that we captured. And then growing in the background, we have dugong food, Cymodosia, Halfla, and Halogely, which you'll see in the next couple of slides. So we only wanted to grow 1 species of seagrass, and we accidentally grew 4. So Cymodosia in the foreground there. So to say this project's been successful is an understatement. Righto, Halfla in the background here as well. So like I said, we want to move up to 10,000 bags. Now these sandbags here, the sandbags were donated by Blackwood's Industrial Supplies. They donated 10 rolls of Hessian, and since then we've had some more major sponsors come on board. We work with Ozfish, who are our not-for-profit organisation. We have Brooks Hire, who are going to loan us some earth moving equipment. The Jockloft Marine Foundation. However, we do need some further sponsorship. So If you want to be involved in the next seagrass restoration, and like I said, we want to take this, we want to expand this majorly. We want a seagrass restoration the whole of Shark Bay and eventually moving on to the rest of the West Australian coastline. We're also safeguarding the whole environment at further extreme marine heat waves.
Thanks. Very good. Thank you.
Any questions? So obviously want to vinyl wrap that jet boat in our sponsors' logos too. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, and over to Q&A.
Questions? Have you considered just selling jet boats? I think you do.
No, I'm in love with it. If we don't make any money, we'll sell it. Any more questions? Right, I'll keep talking then. Yeah?
How has it been funded so far?
Okay, so far this has been completely funded by Aristocrat too, so I'm a bit embarrassed to say how deep in the hole we are with this, but we're extremely passionate about it, and me and Dad will put ourselves in the grave before we let this seagrass die. So we need some more people to get on board and help us out here. What can I do?
What kind of funding are you looking for? How much in sponsorships or what's the target?
Righto, so the average cost of seagrass restoration appears to be $106,000 US per hectare. We believe we can do it for about $30,000 to $40,000 per hectare. So significantly lower. So in short, we need to raise about $300,000 to make it successful. And this will be an ongoing project. Like I said, we plan on going for at least 10 years minimum and hopefully leading down the path of blue carbon credits eventually.
How can you be confident the next marine heat wave won't wipe them out again?
If there's a bushfire in the forest, guys, you don't just leave it, do you? You've got to get out there and replant it.
You looked at genetics for species further north?
Not yet, no. So at the moment, we're just dealing with the Amphibius antarctica. It's the fastest growing seagrass in Shark Bay, and it's the easiest for us to capture with the Hessian stacks. However, next up, we will be seeking a permit from DPIRD to collect Amphibius antarctica seedlings that wash up onto the beach. So during the months of May, June, July, the seedlings wash up onto the beach. We want to get trained volunteers to collect them off the beach. So in the wild, only 1 in 100 seedlings will survive to be an adult plant, and we plan to drastically increase those success rates by our translocation program. So there is other ways of obviously doing seagrass restoration. You could translocate cuttings and so on and so forth, but we just need to do such a bulk area that we couldn't do scuba diving and translocation. And also we've completely eradicated the risk of high risk activities because we've got no scuba divers or anything in the water.
Have you done any tracking to see what sort of biodiversity changes this is creating where you're, over time, like as you have seagrass coming back, so there's an obvious carbon credit potential there, but then there might be other credit potentials like biodiversity credits or things like that. We've got people that are starting up like One Fish, Two Fish, but they're looking for opportunities to get sustainable credentials that match money for biodiversity increase activities. And so just how much have you explored the sort of financial potential of what you're doing here?
Absolutely. So we monitor the sites every 2 weeks. So if you look around on the seabed where the sand sacks aren't, it's just barren seagrass and eroding bank. So where we've placed the sand sacks, that bank, which bank? There's 2 8-metre channels either side of the bank, and the water column is compressed over that bank, speeding up the water flow to about 3 knots and eroding the seagrass away, so nothing can grow there. In regards to other species finding homes there, so where the sand sacks are, like I said, you're looking around, there's nothing, then all of a sudden there's 3 types of seagrass. There's crabs, there's the barred sand perch, obviously we have sponging dolphins in Shark Bay, which is specific to that area. They use sponges as tools, and the barred sand perch is the favoured target food of the sponging dolphins, yes. And there's also crabs, and everything's just living amongst these substrates, yes.
So I'm just wondering if you've got any sort of hard quantitative data to sort of support a case for then moving on into the financial potential.
In regards to additional species as a byproduct?
So biodiversity, biodensity, these things.
Yeah, so I'm not too up to speed with the prices of site. I'd speak to Jason Tanner a fair bit, who's the lead scientist for the seagrass deployment in South Australia, but they're doing something a bit different because theirs is caused by a raw effluent discharge. But they've sort of put a price on per seedling, and they're like, you know what I'm saying? Is that sort of the direction you want to head? Like, what is it going to cost to grow 1 seedling? Is that what you're saying?
No, that's all right.
Okay.
Catch up later.
Yeah, no problems at all. Too easy. Any more? Yes, please.
You're saying that 300,000 might be a lot easier to come by if you have someone collecting the data and actually seeing over a period of time the impact you're having.
Yeah, understand. So obviously right now, like I said, we're pretty strapped for money. So all the monitoring we've done is pretty much me and Dad and that sort of stuff. So obviously, like as you understand, once we get more funding, the job will become easier. We can employ more professionals and obviously collect more of this data. Whereas obviously I'm just going out there sort of measuring how much the shoots are growing. We think they're growing at about 6 millimetres a week, and that's sort of the data we can collect. Obviously we're growing multiple species, and yeah, but completely open to more discussion later, absolutely, yeah.